Hey guys, thanks for coming back and watching the channel. Today I finished my first cosplay. If you saw the last video, I repurposed a Boba Fett helmet, made it into my own Mandalorian helmet. Check that video out if you haven't seen it. But my sister-in-law suggested now that you've done that, go ahead and finish the rest. So, challenge accepted. Like I said, my first cosplay. So never done this before, so give me your critiques, thoughts, opinions, and let's get into it and show you how I made it. So here are all the pieces and components, my Mandalorian armor, and we'll go over each one and check them out. All right, we'll start with the pauldrons for the shoulders. These 3D printed. Started out with the left one first. Came out nice. I believe did 35% all PLA. The paint scheme is the same as the helmet. If you saw my previous video, please go check that out, see how I painted the helmet. But basically the inside silver is what was it, bare tempered black, and then the sides are black chrome, Rust-Oleum black chrome, and I continued that paint scheme throughout all the armor. As you can see on the right shoulder pauldron here, have a clan emblem. Wanted to do my own Mandalorian, so I didn't want to use any other clan emblems that are out there. Especially the Mudhorn wasn't wanting to emulate Din Djarin. So I used my own. This was a design I created way back in high school. And even have a tattoo of it on my back. So I figured that would make a nice clan symbol on there. The second one, the left shoulder, same thing, just no clan emblem, same paint scheme. This one I was having issues with, just mainly my 3D printer. Ended up having to replace the hot end. I don't know how many times it was messing up. I mean, you could see through the material. It was squishy, almost pliable. And then don't know how many times I dismantled, cleaned out the hot end, reassembled it, and tried again. Ended up just having to buy a new one, as I was getting a lot of leakage on the other hot end. But once I got the new hot end in, had no issues at all with any of the prints from there. But I liked these paint colors because I don't know if you can really see here, but they will kind of change color with the lighting. They get more dark, and then with a little more light, have that more silver color to it. Yeah, those are the shoulders, and I guess we'll just go head, shoulders, knees, and toes. So next will be the chest piece. Alright, here we have the chest armor. This is the top piece. It's Din Djarin's basically, but my first print was a little too large, just mainly on the sides here, going across over here on the sides. When I test fitted it on myself, I just didn't have enough movement in my arms, especially kind of moving them forward like I am now to do this. It was just my arms were hitting up against that and very uncomfortable. But same paint scheme, Did add some black highlights through here, and I did that also on the helmet, had some black highlights, especially on the earpieces. And the main difference with this is it had little fins down the sides here, and I just wasn't feeling those, so I cut those off, filled them in, painted them. And then on the back, yeah, I got these off of Thingiverse, Forge Master Props. Really nice prints. And then just added some foam. I may have to shave these down a little bit here, but added foam and Velcro onto the back of it, and I'll go over the Velcro a little later. But yeah, just glued them down with E6000. I forgot to paint that, but you won't see that. But yeah, that is the top piece of the chest armor. Back a little bit. And then we have the bottom. Some call this the ab armor, but for me it's the dad body belly cover. And this goes underneath the top. Same paint scheme, Forge Master Props, 3D printed, and then same Velcro application on the back. And you can see the groove there that the top plate will interplay with. Yeah. All right, and then we will go get the back plate. All right, so this is the back armor. Now, when I first originally started doing this, especially the Paldrons, I know I wanted to 3D print, but the rest of the armor, I kind of thought I might want to try EVA foam. So I found a template online, and I'll try to find that and link it in the description. But I found a template online, and I just wasn't feeling the foam as far as rigidity, and I figured it would move around a lot and start cracking. So far this hasn't been too bad, but this was originally the template for the chest piece, and I had also created this, so it kind of would have gone together like that and been the chest piece. But I left that off, used some spare pieces of foam, added them here, some greeblies that I had, and then before I found the DAP silicone filler, I used a different silicone, and it didn't do too well, but I covered it up, make it look like welded seams or something. But yeah, this was just EVA foam into 4 pieces and then glued together, and Velcro on the back. Heat formed it a little bit to kind of curve with the back. So yeah. All right, here we have the van braces. This is going to be the left, and then this is going to be the right. And yeah, this was Boba Fett's right van brace, and then this was Din Djarin's right van brace. But I liked, these were the two best that I liked the looks of, and decided to make this one my left van brace. Had to cut a slit down the middle of this one to be able to get it on. It was a little tight, but as you can see, still the same color theming there. And then some black highlights here, and then a bunch of greeblies, circuit boards painted up, some metal pieces here, heat sink, and then some white accent color here in these channels, and then tried to add some black here, just kind of breaking up the colors, but overall keeping the same color scheme, and I think they work really well together. And then the right one was his flamethrower, same colors, black accents here and down here and up along the brim there. Added some of these greeblies, another heat sink, some more greeblies there and there and there, and then painted the all familiar Luke's targeting computer X-ray on there just to give it look like some electronic functionality, as I added some wiring inside the cavity here just to give the illusion of electronics and everything. And this one fits my arm pretty well, and I'll probably have to add a little bit of Velcro into these and on the sleeves because they were falling down on my arms a little bit, but an easy fix. But yeah, I think these came out great. Kind of combine the two. But yeah. And alright, I had to go to voiceover. My son kept getting louder and louder. But these are the thigh armor plates, 3D printed PLA, I believe 35% infill. I think that's what I kept everything at, with 8mm wall thickness. Same paint scheme, the hammered black and the black chrome for the sides and the middle part. These were Forge Master props off of Thingiverse that I printed out. Basically all my 3D prints, I think, yeah, everyone other than the hand gauntlets, I used 100 grit with a hand sander, and then used Bondo body filler, fill in all the cracks, and then hand sanded with 320 grit, and then a layer of filler primer, and then just paint. They were smooth enough after all that I didn't need to keep sanding. These are the knee plate armors. They're from just regular knee pads. They're not 3D printed. I just cut off the hard plastic part of the knee pad, and then cut all the sides off where the stitching holes were, and continued with the same paint theme, the hammered black, and then just solid black in those crevices there for highlights, and the normal Velcro on the back. There's a little bit more scratches on these because they were used and whatnot, but they still came out pretty well. They'll probably make more noise or come off easy, but I just didn't want to use straps to hold them on, so I used the Velcro. And these are another pieces that are not 3D printed. These are foam. Constructed those using templates from SKS Props. Modified them a little bit, didn't use the whole template shown here. So just needed something basic and simple. EVA foam, Velcro on the back. These are solid hammered black. I didn't put any accent color on them. Didn't want to have tape peeling the paint off and everything. And then just added the half round foam to the edges there. Give a little bit more detail. Yeah, these are EVA foam. They're doing pretty well, not cracking too bad. Haven't really seen too much on that. But wanted something a little bit more lightweight on my shins. And they probably wouldn't be moving around as much to get cracked, so that, and I think I ran out of filament. But these are the shoe covers. I made these to just cover the shoelaces. You can see a lot more cracking on these just for the few times that I've test fitted and everything. No template, just kind of eyeballed it, cut out the EVA foam, and then added the half round EVA foam on the sides. I might have to adjust these later and take off the Velcro and do something else, because they were making a lot of noise just when I was fitting them on and moving around. But I did have to modify these from my original version and cut off the tips, because when I first did it they looked more like duck bills and did not like that. So just needed something really basic to just cover the shoelaces. I didn't want the shoelaces showing. And now we're going to move on to the belt. It is just a standard web belt, got from the Army Navy surplus store, and then dyed black. It was nice and lightweight, and then I liked the simple belt buckle on there. Nothing fancy, none of the holes or the thing to poke through. Just a simple, basic belt buckle, and that's why I liked it. So I went with this belt, and then I also could adjust it easier too. So this first pouch is old safety goggle case. Had an old pair of house shoes with the mythosaur embroidered on the top of them, but they were falling apart, so I cut them off, and the fabric around it was green. Used an airbrush and covered that black, and then just sewed them onto the pouch, to give it a little bit more detail, and I think to cover up the logo on the flap there. And then just added some Velcro to keep it closed, and then sewed in the sides just so it didn't poke out so far. Use that to keep my phone and stuff in if I go to conventions. Both of those pouches, phone, wallet, keys, whatnot. Don't want to have to carry those around, and have them in the actual side pockets of the jumper. So moving on to the next one, this is a old visual light fault locator that I use for work. Bought on Amazon. It quit working after a while, and just figured it might look like something that a bounty hunter might use. So, and I liked the case, and it was already pre-made, so that was nice. Didn't have to make another one, and use it. Thought it looked good on the belt. The greebly here on the front was just the piece of the old pipe clamp that I used to make the stencil of the stripes on the helmet. Just glued that on there to break up the detail, add some visual coloring and stuff to that little pouch. And this pouch is actually the back pockets of the jumper that I glued together, because you can't have pockets really on the suit. So I just took the two back pockets, glued them together to make the pouch, and then the top flap is one of the front pockets that I had taken off, and then added some Velcro The stencil or design on it, I cut a stencil out of plastic and airbrush that on, make it look like scales, some type of alien hide, and added some little bit of details here and there. I think I used green and black on that side. You can see some of the experiments I was doing on the back side with it. But yeah, I just wanted something just other than just a plain fabric, so added more detail on that. This next pouch, before I had the idea to use that one, was faux leather that I was going to use to put my phone in, but I only had hot glue at the time to put it together, and it just wasn't sticking well enough to that faux leather. And I found that other pouch and liked it better, and so this one I just kind of glued shut, put some filler in it, and use it to fill up the spaces on the belt. But yeah, you can see it was glued in, and then just added that greebly on the top just to give it some visual difference on it. The next pouch here is just an old knife case I had. Put some EVA foam in it just to fill it out, make it something look like something's in there, and then added a heat sink on the top to cover up the logo that was there, kind of colored over it in black, but you can kind of still see it a little bit. But that heat sink kind of covers it up pretty well and adds a little bit of detail to it. We'll move over here. These are just some cartridges, ammo cartridges or whatnot. These are actually 3 glue stick canisters that I just painted up, stuck on there. The green piece is a piece of faux leather. It was actually brown. I airbrushed it green, and then they're just all stuck down to the back piece, which is 2 pieces of EVA foam with a cavity in the middle that you can slide down onto the belt. But yeah, I think these came out really nice. Maybe add a little bit more weathering or something to them, but just needed something to look like ammo cartridges and stuff, and I think those fit really well. Now onto the blaster. First, the holster. So the holster was made with EVA foam, because I was going to use that leather first, but the EVA foam was a lot more easier to mold and sculpt and shape to, and then just covered it with the faux leather. So yeah, I just heated up, cutted the foam, wrapped it around the blaster to get it to the shape I wanted, added some stitching for a better hold with the weight of that blaster in there so it didn't fall down, fall apart or anything like that on me. That hot glue, it works, but not so well on that faux leather. And so yeah, onto the blaster. It was hand built. The handles from a Nerf gun that I took apart, and the front part of the barrel was part of one of the inside pieces of that Nerf gun. And then the middle part here is an old vape that I used. It wasn't working anymore, so just put that on there, glued the 2 pieces together, well, 3 pieces, and then used EVA foam there to cover up those seams where I glued the pieces together and make it more continuous piece. This here is the tubing where the vape juice went. It's glass, but I filled it with UV resin and then glued everything together with epoxy down there, and then added the orange safety paint in the barrel. I didn't want it on the outside of the barrel, but might add a little more on there, but you know, gotta have safety. Backside here, the handle just covered with faux leather. Tried to cut it and wrap it around as best I could and glued it down. Used some brown puff paint to fill in some of the seams there where I glued the pieces together and make it look more as more one unified piece. And then left out the little edges there in the grip, just some visual detail. And just wrapped the rest of it all around with that faux leather. A little more detail there on the vape. I liked how that part right there kind of adds some visual detail, a little more sci-fi look, so kept that. Didn't want to paint over it, and like I said, just filled it with UV resin, make it more sturdy. And then just added some greeblies here that I had laying around. And the top piece here is actually the rangefinder from the Boba Fett helmet. So I kept that piece and put it on top of here because now it's part of the rangefinder for the gun, I guess. As I painted just a little sight here and the elevation thing there, just some little details. And then on the side here, add a little bit more visual detail, kind of help hide in the seams on the foam and between the pieces and stuff. The trigger, it was working, but once the glue started drying and everything, the glued the trigger, so it doesn't work, but don't really need it to. It's just visual prop, you know, to go along. Every bounty hunter needs a blaster. And then added some circuit board greeblies and details there, and some more details down in the handle there. Here's the bottom. See where the EVA foam wraps around and covers up the glue points of those areas. Yeah, I think it came out pretty well and fits nicely in the case there. Or holster, excuse me, not case, holster. Here is the cape. Most websites and everybody were saying to use boiled wool, but I really couldn't find any. They didn't have any at the craft store that I went to. So this is felt, and it's charcoal. I think that was the color. It was called charcoal, and I really like the color of it. I think it would match well with the paint that I used. And I think it matches pretty well. So I didn't want all black cape or just an all gray cape, so I think it came out pretty well. It's a little lighter than the boiled wool, so it'll flap around a little more, I guess. And then at the top, I just added some pleats and Velcro to attach it to the jumpsuit. And then the jumpsuit is just an old pair of coveralls I had that were very light blue. Tried to dye it black with the Ritz dye black that I used to dye the belt, but it just wasn't taking that dye. It just made it more of a blue jean color, and I wasn't happy with it. So I was wanting a black jumpsuit, didn't want to buy one, and the dye just wasn't working. Just made it look more like blue jeans, kind of like on there. And so used a crap ton of tulip fabric paint, sprayed that all over, covering it up, let it dry for almost a week, and washed it, and it seems to be holding up pretty well. And then added the fuzzy part of the Velcro for all the parts and some stitching on there just to make sure it doesn't pull up, because it does have the sticky tape on the back of the Velcro, but it wasn't strong enough to keep it on the fabric, so I stitched it down. And so if I'm going to conventions, that suit is going to be hot. So let's take a look at this water bottle that I had. Definitely going to need a water bottle if I'm going to be walking around a convention in that hot suit and stay hydrated. So this was a free bottle I got from work. As you can see here, um, didn't think I'd ever really use it, but knew I had it and would need something to keep water in while I go to conventions. So I decided to Star Warsify it, and this is it. Basically, the bottle is painted all one color of the black chrome, and yeah, I didn't add any other really base color to it, just the black chrome. Then had some 3D printed greeblies that I'd printed out a while before but hadn't used yet, and put one there and one at the top, like a little sewer grate vent kind of thing up there. But yeah, this I just had that printed and had to use a heat gun, heated it up and conformed it to the circumference of the outside of the bottle there so it would fit, and glued it on. The silver grate vent looking thing, that's an old doorstop that I think looked really good. It had those slits in it, make it look like some sort of vent. And painted that silver chrome and then airbrushed the black in there as like dirt and stuff. And added the piping on the side, just some wire. Glued all that down. Some greeblies on the front there. And then here some pinstriping to go around these three round discs, which are actually magnets that I were going to use to attach to my costume instead of having to carry it around or have it on a sling or something like that. And I was planning on doing it vertically like this, like on the back of a stormtrooper's thing, but it was just, when filled with water, just too heavy and would roll right off. So it does stick pretty well with other magnets on the inside of the fabric vertically, but now I just got to figure out if I want where to put it, if I want to still do that. So I really don't want to have to carry it, like I said, but I might end up just having to. And so here, the orange stripes, I had a 3D printed greebly look like the Death Star walls. Heated that up with a heat gun, bent it around the bottle, and used it as a stencil, and airbrushed the orange in there. And then added the Dianoga creature there in the middle. And then the lettering, cut those out, airbrush those on, and it says Dianoga water. And then the rest of the bottle just added some like streaks of green tainted water like they had spilled out and dripped down the side of the bottle. The bottom and the top is faux leather that I wrapped around. Added some black airbrush, just kind of give it some dirty detail. And here on the greebly added some rub and buff to just give it some accent and detail. But yeah, I think that came out really nice. Dianoga water. And then after it was painted, just I did about 4 or 5 coats of 1K gloss coat seal everything in, help keeping it from getting scratched up, and nicking the paint and stuff. So and here I went ahead and started putting on the suit because I didn't think you'd want to see me in my underoos. Go ahead and zip up the rest of it. It's just gonna get hot, and so just trying to keep it cool. Zipping it up. Already put the boots on, so we'll start with the shoelace covers here. And then go with the shin guards. I had put the Velcro on here to where it would kind of pull the fabric towards the front of my leg so the suit wouldn't be so baggy. I know they don't really like that as far as the 501st and the Mando Mercs, even though I want this to be all my own, but I still didn't think it looked really good baggy either, even though I do like my clothes loose fitting. Now to put on the knee pads. I was trying to put these as even as I could, but it's a little hard to see, you know, doing it upside down basically. So here I was just checking it in the other mirror, and as you can see, I did go ahead and put the back plate on before I put the suit on, made it a little easier. Now the thigh plates. Again, checking to see if they're even. Just trying to make it as even as possible. About to put on the belt, but then I forgot the gloves and the gauntlet. So the gauntlets, they're 3D printed, just really thin. I didn't sand those, but just the same paint scheme with the hammered black and the chrome. The gloves, I didn't want anything thick to be bulky. I don't like wearing gloves, so I didn't want anything just hindering my fingertips and everything, so they're just cheap, thin gloves. Alright. Stick that pocket back in there. Now just putting on the belt. I still need to trim that extra piece off. Tighten it up a little more. And of course, I'll fix the pouches and stuff better when I actually wear it for real. Alright, here's the belly cover. Move the camera up a little bit more. I'm going to put the chest plate on, but I forgot. Need to put the vest or cape on first. Trying to remember which way I designed it to go on. Just some Velcro towards the top there. I was just putting this on quick, so next time I'll be a little more mindful of how even it is when I put it on. And now putting the top of the chest plate on. Now for the shoulders, I probably should have done this before. But still had a little bit of an issue with the arm reach, but that smaller chest plate made it a lot easier. Just stick those on. I do think the shoulder pieces do help kind of keep that cape in a nice spot in place and not cover everything up, if I can get it right. And for the van braces, just trying to get the sleeve a little pulled more towards the opening of it. Definitely have to put some Velcro on those to keep them in place, because they'll slide down. Now the left one. It's a lot more easier than the other one with that slit down the bottom of it. And now the gloves. And those are attached with Velcro onto the glove, but it's just easier to keep them on there. And they don't move around too much anyway, so. My earbuds fell out. Trying to use those as a better microphone, but it wasn't working for some reason. And I had to do the voiceover because my son was being too loud and saying some words he shouldn't have, so doing it this way instead. But now for the piece de resistance, and here we are, fully assembled. And as you notice, I did not make any cod piece or armor there, because, you know, who needs to cover balls of steel? But here's a nice little turnaround. The cape, trying to fix it a little bit. I know it's a little uneven, but I was just putting it on quick for display purposes. Yeah, overall I think it turned out really nice. It's not bad. It's, you know, it's comfortable, but it definitely will get hot. And be more comfortable during Halloween, during the colder season, but doing stuff in the summer, it'll definitely be hot. But thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. Hit the notification button for my next video. I don't put too many out, so it won't blow up your phone. Leave some comments for me, and see you